Is that what it's called?
You know what? I'll just say this. The grocery store gonna get mad at me if I complain about the carts not being returned.
Wait, what?
Like if I come on the podcast and complain about something or talk about something,
Yeah.
am I supposed to talk about no people, places, or things while I'm here?
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope you're having a really good day so far. If you're new here, my name's Taylor. I come to you from Baltimore City, Maryland. And here on my YouTube channel, I feature content that is generally focused on knitting and spinning. In this week's episode of what I call the Thread to Mend podcast, I'm going to sit down and share with you what I've been making and what I plan to finish making in 2024. This is the final whips countdown, a little whip inventory, if you will. It's the year-end inventory of whips. I would, if I were more accomplished, do everything I made in 2024, but I don't know what I've made this year. It's probably a very short list of things. I think I came out with one pattern. I might have knit the Better Waverly in 2024. Love that garment, wear it all the time. But, and I'm very proud of that make in terms of wearing and pattern drafting. But I'm going to share with you what I'm still making because there's a lot. And I do need to take stock of everything and really hone in on what I can scratch off this list. It has gotten too long. In fact, I should write it down. The very first thing that I'm very excited to wear one day soon, and the first three, I will warn you, are all Andrew Mowry patterns because she is one of my favorite designers. But the first thing that I hope to finish before the end of December, this is a high expectation, is the Velor. It is it is a bottom-up design that you knit in the round, split for the front and the back, and then 3 needle bind off to join the two sides, and then you do like 1 inch of sleeves. I have modified this slightly to increase at the sides after splitting for the front and the back, because I realized as soon as I was ready to split, I kind of worked a smaller size than I maybe should have. I don't know. I'm playing a game of serious yarn chicken here, and I've knit this garment entirely from my stash. So I didn't want to buy more yarn. I wanted to make this piece. I wanted to make it with these colors, and I chose a smaller size to cast on, and then realized it wasn't going to hit my shoulders where I wanted it to. So I just started increasing. I added an increase to both sides of the front on the right side of every contrast row. So about every 4 rows, I added a stitch on the right after the first stitch. And I'm very happy with the results so far. Here is a little bit of a close-up. You can see that I'm on the ribbing of the front, which is just 1 inch long. And then I will soon knit the back, join, and then work the sleeves. Okay. Hi. Welcome. Okay. I am knitting Andrea Mowry's Velor with Stephen and Penelope's Bicycle yarn for the main color. It is a 2-ply fingering weight yarn, and I had a full skein of that and a remnant from another project, so just over, I would guess, like 120-ish grams. I don't know that I ever weighed it, but I might run out. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm using, in the contrast colors, silk mohair held double, and I also am playing a game of yarn chicken with that. I'm sure to win it, I think, though. I had a full 50-gram skein of one color and a very similar color left over from another project. I would guess maybe 30 grams. And I split the full 50-gram skein in half, and every other chunk of stripes, I'm alternating the remnant with the second half of the, you know what I'm saying? It has a very subtle chunky stripe effect, and I really like that. It was only done to extend the yardage of my silk mohair, but I think I would have intentionally done that. Now seeing the subtle striping, I think it's really nice, and it adds another dimension to the stripes. So I like that about it. One thing that's nice about this pattern from Andrea is that you can work the textured stitch, but incorporate any combination of stripes you desire. And there's really an endless possibilities of how you stripe your yarn colors without really changing the actual structure of the textured stitch. So love this. Would knit again. Probably won't, because it's a very tedious pattern. It has a lot of density to it, so it takes quite a bit of time to work. It's a garter stitch with a slip stitch motif. So garter, extremely slow. Many rows per inch compared to stockinette. So it's a slow grower. It's on lightweight yarn and small needles, but I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you know it's a labor of love, and I can't wait to wear that. I would love to throw it on under a blazer or something while it's still cold, but then also transition into the spring, because it is kind of a spring-ish vibe. It's really like an all seasons color palette in my world, and I just can't wait to wear it. The second project, again, Andrea Mowry pattern. This is her Wanderer slippers. I'm knitting these for Brian. So much fun. Editing Taylor here. Did you notice that the chevron stripes on the calf of the slipper are thicker than the foot? I didn't notice this till yesterday, and that was like a week after I filmed this video. But how annoying. Especially when, had I just incorporated that one extra kind of like row that would have been required, I think that the last chevron would have lined up perfectly with the bottom edge. So I'm not going to fix it. I'm just going to repeat the mistake on the second slipper, and that's that on that. This pattern was the first thing I ever knit. The first pattern I ever knit. And I could knit like 10 more. I've knit 2, 3, 4 of these, and they never get old. They are very satisfying. Every time you get through an arrow, you're like, just one more, and then you do split for the heel, and then it's just one more, and then all of a sudden you're binding off the toe, adding that little heel flap, and it's just so rewarding. There was a pair, I still have them. I knit my second pair of these, second or third pair of these, with an 80-10-10 merino cashmere silk, merino cashmere nylon, and MCN yarn. They stretched out so dramatically, like I cannot wear them because they just flop off my feet. These, however, are knit with a very rustic wool, and I think for that same reason, they are a little bit more snug. They're a little bit more dense of a fabric. maybe a little heavier, and they, I think, are going to hold up extraordinarily well. So I do regret knitting these slippers in such a slinky, slippery yarn in the past, but one thing I did do is I added a Latvian braid. Is that what it's called? Here is the Latvian braid I mentioned adding to my third pair of these slippers. The first pair completely worn out, and these ones are, like I said, fully stretched beyond oblivion. One thing I did not do very well was this little area here. I could have tightened that up better, but like I said, this MCN yarn just totally stretched out, like mega. And I think what I might do is rip these back and reclaim this yarn for more socks. Because of the nylon content, I think I would very much enjoy knitting some socks out of this yarn, but we'll have to, I don't know, put that off till another day. The thing that makes me want to do that is I found a small hole somewhere. There was a little break in the yarn at some point. So anyway, I think I'm going to reclaim this yarn and make something more wearable. I knit this one exactly as the pattern describes, which I think is just like one row of knitting before starting the pattern. And it does tend to roll and expose the inner the wrong side of the stockinette stitch, which is fine. I think that actually once they're on the form of your leg, they'll be stretched out so much that that doesn't quite happen. But anyway, that's something that I wanted to avoid, and I modified, and I really liked, and I forgot to repeat it. But cannot recommend these enough. These would be a great gift if, I mean, not that anyone is finding new things to knit for Christmas right now, but it could be a birthday in the winter or some other event in someone's life that is a knit-worthy gift moment. Love this pattern. I have 2 pairs picked out to knit with other skeins from my stash. One is for me and one is just when I get to it. But that I hope to finish like tonight, tomorrow, maybe this weekend, maybe next weekend. But we have 2.5 weeks left this year. I do right now. Maybe not you when you watch this, but that's how much time I have to finish some of these projects that I have begun knitting. The third is another I hope to finish before year end. I did participate in Andrew Mowry's sock knit along this Thanksgiving weekend. I had no business casting on a new project, but I thought as long as I finish it in 2 or 3 days, then what's the big deal? Or 3 to 4 days, I forget. But yes, 4 days I think is the knit along time frame. I did not finish. I am in the middle of, not even. Yeah, I mean, I just glitched. I am still working the heel. I just have a few more rows to decrease, but I am soon on the foot of my second sock. This pattern is the Oxbo sock, and I mistakenly misinterpreted the instructions. So instead of knitting it as written, I mixed up rows 2 and 3. So I basically did a ribbing where it's kind of like a seed stitch. Doesn't matter. It is what it is. And I'm knitting my second sock to match the first sock. One day in the future, I'll actually knit the pattern as it is defined, but I'm just happy to have a pair of hand knit socks. This yarn is by Jill Draper. It is her 4-ply sock yarn, and it is very rustic. I will have, I think, more than enough yarn. I'm looking for my ball of yarn. I think I'll have more than enough yarn to knit at least like the heels and toes of another pair, but probably not enough to knit another pair of ankle socks. I'd have to weigh the socks to know how much yarn they took, and then weigh the remaining yarn to know what to do. Maybe I'll knit another pair and then have a contrast toe or even a contrast heel, or maybe a contrast ankle toe so that it doesn't look so sporty, and I can maybe wear it with a pair of clogs. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not sure. But those are the first 3 projects that I'm most excited to finish in the nearest future. The other projects have been waiting in the wings for quite a while, and I'm just going to go through one at a time very briefly. The Ridgies cardigan. This is my 4th of 4 panels. Once I get this panel finished, then I will join the back and the shoulders, and I will have 2 sleeves and a very large collar to knit. So I'm about halfway done with this project. It is such a fast knit. It is worked on US size 8 needles. So, I mean, if I'm honest with myself, I could probably finish this sooner than my Velor if we were counting stitches, let's be honest. But that seems too ambitious. So I'm ranking this as my number 4 to complete project. And it is such a big project that it would really be nice to clear this volume of yarn out of a project bag or 2, which I know I have my working yarn and project occupying, and then I have an entire bag devoted to the additional skeins and the panels that I've already completed. It takes like a whole backpack. So those are, that's that on that. And then I have, which I haven't even cast on yet. I stopped in the middle of casting on the body of my Chained Oblivion cardigan. Gorgeous pattern. Can't wait to finish that as well. But I have the 2 sleeves completed. The pattern seems very straightforward, although I haven't gotten to the point yet, obviously, where I will join the arms and work the shaping of the yoke, which it's knit from the bottom up. So I expect that the more complicated aspects of this pattern I have yet to approach. I've so far just worked the sleeves and that's it. So we'll see. I hope it works out well for me. I know that I am particular about how my cardigans fit. I hate when they slide off my shoulders, and this is a very open, loose-fitting design that I think might slip off my shoulders, but I think as long as I'm wearing it with the right shirt underneath, I'm gonna be fine. I'm also knitting it with one of the most rustic yarns I've ever acquired. It's strange because when you feel it with your hands, it feels so soft. And then you put it up against your chin and it has these kind of guard hairs mixed in. This is a California red sheep's fleece wool yarn. And it's from a local farm in Moncton called Crooked Fence Farm. And I bought this years ago. I picked up a whole sweater quantity a long time ago, and I still had to knit with it, and I thought this might be one of the best applications for that yarn. A nice, big, cozy cabled cardigan. So excited for that. The other projects are ancient. They truly are. I'm going to start with the oldest, because if you're an OG viewer of my channel, which some of you are, I knit the first of 2 gloves forever ago. This is from a book about mittens. And I did modify the second owl in the thumb. I gave it slightly bigger eyes. And this mitten is just so cute. I would love to finish it and have it like completed and in my wardrobe. But I don't know who I'm kidding, because I don't need mittens frequently enough to feel the motivation to pick up this project, but it is an unfinished project in my stash of project bags. I have the second mitten in my little sock bag. I love these 3D triangle sock bags, by the way. They're so fun to make. I went through a phase of making these to sell online, and I'm thinking if I ever have time, I would do it again. I would make project bags in a flash if the time were available to me. But I did cast on long ago the second cuff, which is such a relief because I don't know, I think if I hadn't done it, I would have just accepted the fact that the second mitten will never be made. But because I already have a cuff and all I have to do is follow the chart, knit the thumb, I kind of think it could happen in my lifetime. So, I mean, wouldn't that be nice? And then I would have this project bag, so cute, available again. And I would love that for me. Next, we have a Knitting Nelly project bag with, this is such a gorgeous pattern. This is a gorgeous design. I probably will not pick up and knit until the spring of 2025. It is a pattern by, I want to say this is a Natasha Hornby pattern. I could be wrong, but I've already knit the front panel and the back panel. And then all I need to do is pick up and knit along the second side. I think I'm going to actually undo this portion that I've already started because I know that I accidentally had the stitch count wrong, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of just put this project down and didn't revisit it, because let's be honest, there's really not a ton of yarn to knit this into. I think I'm going to do like the short sleeve version of it just so that I have a garment out of this yarn, which I didn't buy. I think I bought just enough to like make a hat or something. Like I did not buy a lot of yardage with this yarn. But this is Brooklyn Tweed's Loft yarn. I picked it up on sale from like their remnants bin, I think, when we were visiting the mill. And then I got this Shetland, I don't know if it's hand spun or not, but it's this gorgeous Shetland wool yarn from a viewer. I'm very excited to have this in my wardrobe one day soon, just not now because I have no desire to pick up these stitches again. I really don't. But I know that one day I'm going to finish this. In fact, I think for every project I cast on in the future, I have to finish one first. That might be a standard I set for myself. So this is going to be in the shame pile where I should be ashamed if I don't finish it because it is so gorgeous and lovely, and I'm literally halfway done. So no excuses, just not now. The next project, I don't even think I cast this on. I don't even think I've talked about this. This is yarn I picked out to knit a pattern from the Shetland Trader, book 3. She has a hat design in that book. I just cannot wait to knit, and these are the yarns I intend to knit it with. It is such a small project that I thought, why not put the yarn in a bag and knit it one day? But it's sitting here as if it's a whip, and it's not a whip. But I hope to make it, and I probably won't make it until next year. Until next winter, because I just don't even wear hats, honestly. I picked out the red and the yellow because of the Kansas City Chiefs, and at this point I'm a Bills Mafia girly. And I'm a fan of the Lions because I am a fair weather fan. I like the teams that win, and the Lions and the Bills, they're both underdogs and they're winning, and it's so fun to watch them win all the time. The Kansas City Chiefs, I feel like they do win, but they win in ways that aren't spectacular, whereas like the Lions are fun to watch. The Vikings, not my team, but I love to see them win because they do the best like touchdown dances and stuff. Did you see the Mean Girls dance? I think that they did like the Romy and Michelle dance too. That was so fun. Again, another project I haven't even started. This is 3 skeins of handspun that I'm going to knit into a ranunculus. I've swatched for a different design, so I'll have to re-swatch, and I don't even know when I'm going to start that, but I guess I'm not starting it until I finish that other design. I've talked about stopping and restarting this one. I shouldn't even count it as a whip because I fully intend to frog the 3/4 of an inch that I started, but this is the beginnings of a throw over. Nope, why did I say that? These are the beginnings of a home front, and I would rather cast it on with a tubular cast on because it gives such a nice looking edge, and I just was not the biggest fan of this cast on edge. And that is a project I'm going to restart in the spring. I should create a separate basket of projects I plan to cast on and separate them from the projects I've already started. Again, it's like, this is worse than a pile of whips because I haven't even started them. These are just projects I planned to start and never did. But I have remnants of my bubble cardigan here. Mostly, I'm missing 2 shades, but I want to turn these into a bubble cardigan that resembles but doesn't entirely match my bubble cardigan. But I want to make a tiny bubble cardigan / pullover for Starship Enterprise so that she has a new sweater, but one that will sort of kind of match the one I have. And I have so much yardage here, I could probably knit a couple things for her. And that is a sure plan. I also have remnants from hand spun projects and other sweaters that I have remnants that I want to knit into other dog sweaters. Shibby has 2 hand knit sweaters in rotation and they are both damaged. Like, they are unraveling as we speak, and she is in the most need for a new sweater. I have this brown sparkle. You probably can't see the sparkle. And this brown looks much more drab on camera because my lighting is atrocious today. It's very overcast outside and it is winter. But I have this ropey early hand spun and this more ropey 3-ply hand spun that I would like to knit into a colorwork sweater for Shippy. And I also have this hand spun remnant supply that may be enough. I really don't know. And then I have this leftover Harrisville Designs. I think that is surely enough yarn for a Starship sweater. And then this skein too, which I think would also be enough for a Shippy sweater. So that's like, what, 4 dog sweaters in this one bag, 5 planned. At this point, I'm a bad dog parent if I don't cast one on right away. But like I said, I want to finish something first. I have my project bags sorted. These are the 2 projects I'm going to focus on most. This is all of the things currently in progress, including that little mitten, which, you know, whatever. That's 4 projects in there, 2 over here, and then things that I'm holding off till next year. So as I finish the projects in my 2 field bags, I will transfer one of these into one of these and keep on knitting. That is it for this week's episode of the Thread to Mend podcast. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to find me on social media, my name is TAYLOREOWEN on Ravelry and Instagram. You can find me over on TikTok as Taylor Knits. I guess I should give a little update on Star Baby. She went to the vet again today, and she has a tooth extraction scheduled for Friday. Poor baby girl. Anyway, the gums, the infection in her gums has cleared, but we still need to pull that tooth. So hopefully that'll go well for her. If it doesn't, this might be the last time you see her, honestly. Not to be dark, but that's life. You know, you take risks and hopefully you reap the rewards of such risks. But she's already over 12, maybe 13 years old at this point. She's had a pretty good life, so we're just trying to make sure she's comfortable and healthy and thriving, right? But right now she doesn't feel all that good. So that's it for this week's episode. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you want to support me here on my channel, check out some of the patterns I have available for sale. You could always give a super thanks or just don't skip the ads. That helps the most. I think, I don't know. But I love to draft patterns because I love knitting, but I also hope that it is like a little bit of an exchange. Like you can support me here on YouTube, and if you want to give financially, buy a pattern, because then you get something for that offering. Does that make sense? I hope you know what I'm saying. That's it for this week's episode. Thanks again so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day, a wonderful week, and that you take care.